You guys created
No.
Whoa. Hi. Welcome, everyone, to the Renegade Run podcast. I'm your host, Red Wolf, and we're going to start the year off positive and not toxic whatsoever. Thank you all so much for being here. Shout out to, let me pull the chat back up, too. I saw some new people here. Big Super Oscar. He's the first one. He said, let's go. Who else is here? Jenkins 2.0, you've been here before. I've seen you. I missed you, I think, right? You've been here before. And you're calling in the most studious, beautiful person in the chat, I think, right? Is that okay to say? And Yadani Kazada, Colt Eastwood, of course, is here. I don't know how I missed Colt in the first person. And Timmy is here. Did I miss anyone? I think that's it. Jank. I like that. Yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. Oh, you came from Damarco. Okay, I got you. That's okay. That's fine.
Jenkins
we
is
have
awesome.
Jenkins. Oh wait, now I remember from the Baldur's Gate streams. I remember you talking.
There you go.
Yep, I remember that. Hey, so we're also joined by a very special guest. It's been a long time since we've had a guest because it was hard enough to get a regular panel going. So if you guys don't mind, hit the like button. I don't even gotta tell you guys. Look at that. We're already matching our chat with likes. Thank you so much for doing that. Joining us today is none other than the famous, the shiny, wet. Wet
Keep
as
going.
in like shiny,
Another
like whenever you like polish metal is wet. Like that's not. Arcane Realm
Where are
is
you
joining us
going?
today. Arcane Realm, tell people who you are. Thank you for being here.
Yay, thank you for having me. Yeah, it's been, if I recall correctly, it's been close to about a year since I did the podcast last. So a lot has changed in that time. But yeah, I'm kind of a smaller channel. I cover primarily Arcane Studios, hence the name. So Dishonored, Deathloop, Prey, Redfall, Blade, which will be, there will be a lot of coverage coming for that soon. And a lot of just kind of Bethesda related content as well. I try not to restrict myself. So if anybody in the chat, anybody watching is interested, definitely, if you're feeling generous, consider checking out the channel at some point.
Yeah, man, and we'll get your stuff in chat here. It's been a hell of a day. Look, I think something happened a few days ago, right? New Year's, Christmas, all that fun stuff. Halloween came early and everything. We were all dressed up like little elves, running around, punching each other in the nuts. It was fun. Let's see. What's wrong, Assassin? Yudani says. Anyway, so I'll get your stuff there in the chat, or someone will. I trust everyone. Yeah, but we're gonna talk about all kinds of fun stuff. We're also joined. Speaking of shiny, and when I said wet, I meant like you polish.
You can't fix it. Just move on from it.
It's
It's
fine.
too
Well,
late.
Let's go to you, Damarco.
You know what? For what it's worth, I'm not offended at all. That's the most flattering thing anyone has said about me all day.
Somebody's like, "Hey, man, looking wet today." You're like, "Cool, thanks."
Yeah. Why? Thank you.
Why, thank you. Thank you for noticing. Damarco, how you been? And, oh, I'm sorry. Excuse you, Damarco. Arcane.
You're excused.
Thank you. What have you been playing? What you been into? It's been, over the holidays, so it's not like we all have a ton of time, but sometimes we find time.
Yeah. The holidays, man, it's been a real roller coaster. But as far as what I've been playing, so I got a couple of brand new games for Christmas. Chief among them, I got Spider-Man Miles Morales, and it comes with the remastered version of the original Insomniac Spider-Man. So it's been on my backlog for years. I have a brother who's a Marvel nutcase who's like, play this game so we can talk about it. And so now I've finally started playing it, and I'm not that far into it. I'm maybe like 10-ish hours, but I can see why people like it. Like it definitely, I was about to say it's got like the Batman Arkham quality, but even that's not quite right. I guess, well, maybe it is a little bit right. I would say that like Insomniac has done with Spider-Man basically what Rocksteady did with Batman in my eyes. Like they've really captured the essence of what it means to be Spider-Man. So yeah, that's what I've been playing. And I also got Jedi Survivor and Resident Evil 4 Remake for Christmas. So those are going to be coming up soon once I finish up Spider-Man and the Miles Morales spinoff. So yeah, I've got quite a bit on my plate.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That gets me so excited to hear
Two
you playing
big
Jedi
games.
Survivor.
Yeah.
I honestly, it's funny, like there were so many amazing games that came out in 2023, and I pretty much missed all of them, barring two that I'm sure I'll talk about that a little bit later on in the cast. But yeah, Jedi Survivor is one that I had heard great things about, minus the PC port. So that's why I decided to grab the PlayStation 5 version. And Fallen Order, I adored Fallen Order. It's one of the greatest Star Wars games ever made, and I'll die on that hill. So I'm very curious to see where Cal Kestis's story kind of progresses to. So yeah.
It's incredible. That's all I'll say. So let me tell you who's next. Damarco, now you can go. God, just trying to jump in there. What you been into, man? How was your holiday?
No, I don't.
Why were you so up? Why were you so up? Chat, well, just so you know, we're all fucked right now. In a lot of different ways. I'm very tired. Why were you up at 4 o'clock in the morning? Or was it 4 o'clock in the morning? What did you do for New Year's?
What did I do for New Year's? Well, obviously friends and no drinking.
Excuse me?
Drinking is bad.
You did your friends.
Okay, hey, listen.
Yep, I did lots of friends, just all at once, all in a big cuddle puddle. It was fantastic.
A cuddle puddle. I love that.
Big puddle.
Okay, hey, listen,
You called
that's
the
what
wrong
happens.
person wet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so you should be using that for him. So.
There you go.
That's
There
all
you
I ever
go.
wanted to be called
Okay.
wet. Assassin took it from me.
Okay, well, there you go.
That's why I got so defensive about it. Anyway,
He's like,
yeah,
I'm
no,
the wettest.
As for games, no time for games. However, I will say, listen, there's just one thing, and I need to explain this because it is incredibly important, which is that the Epic Game Store, I firmly believe that Steam is overall a better platform, and I shared this in your Discord, Red. I was showing that, like, dude, Epic Game Store has a sick sale going on where they have their normal holiday sale, which is fantastic, and, you know, that's great. Love to see it. They have, on top of that, an additional 33% off of everything. Just, they give you an automatic coupon to the store. So whatever the sale price is, take an additional 33% off of that sale price. And then additionally, you get 10% in cash back. And I'm not talking like Steam points where you could buy like a little sticker for chat or something in Steam. No, I'm talking actual money that you can use to buy a game because they have a real rewards program. Not that phony baloney, whatever whatever hoopla nonsense that Steam is trying to pull with me buying some stickers. Epic Game Store. I had like 300, what was it? I sent the screenshot. It was like $340 worth of games in a cart that came out to, I don't know, what, like $120, $130? That is a sale.
Yeah.
That is a sale. And it included some new things, such as like Frontiers of Pandora was on that list. I didn't buy anything yet. I didn't give in yet. But it's like every day I just open my computer, I see Epic Game Store pops up because I didn't turn off the preload, and then I see your cart has like 7 items in it. I'm like, that's it. But
You've been giving away some good free games too. I've been getting there.
They gave away Ghostwire Tokyo and Fallout 3 not that long ago, two pretty solid Bethesda games.
It's definitely slowed down on
gave
that
away...
part. Now they're giving away like
they gave away Saints Row this week, which, if it's free,
sorry,
it's free. It's free.
It is free.
It doesn't matter if it's
free.
free. You couldn't pay me money to play that game, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, I mean, cool. Soon they're going to be giving away, what was the game that we were talking about last time that's releasing in 2023? It was like Peanut's Grand Adventure or Peanut Robs a Bank or something like that.
It was your game.
Yeah.
Whoa, what, like Charlie Brown, like the kid, like the children are robbing banks?
No, remember he kept talking about like Poppy the peanut
Poppy
something.
Picks pickled pepper.
All right.
What was it? Turnip Boy robs a bank. Yes, that's it. Like eventually that Turnip Boy robs a bank will be the free game of the month. But yeah, they've definitely slowed down with the quality. But the holiday season, they've been doing some good ones.
Well, speaking of holiday, Holly, how are you? And what have you been playing? How was your New Year's event?
It's good. I've been busy this week with gaming. I got a lot of stuff checked off my list. First of all, probably the most difficult is don't hate me, but I got Interstellar camo on all my guns in Call of Duty, which is like the most mastery camo that you can get in the game, and it takes a lot of grinding, and you have to just do lots and lots and lots and lots of things to get there. And I got it, and it's a big deal for me, and I was very proud of that for myself. Besides that, in other gaming things, once I got that, I said, okay, now I could go finish Alan Wake 2. And I did.
Let's go. Yes.
All right. That was my by 2023 I have to finish this thing. So I stayed up until like 2:45 in the morning on New Year's Day to just finish it. Just go.
Time well spent. Time well spent. That honestly sounds like the perfect New Year.
I love that.
And I was in a party with some other people and stuff, right? Like just talking, but I just wanted to like churn and burn. Normally I go to a friend's house on New Year's, but there's a lot of personal stuff going on with them. So,
well, let's talk about that. What's going on with them? You can tell us.
So I have a group. I was to say, you don't want to go down there. I have a group of friends who are having some issues. So we all just did our own thing for New Year's, and I played Alan Wake. Damarco's talking, but nobody can hear
Good.
him.
Sorry, I'm yelling. I said, what a way to ring in the new year. More issues. Let's do more of them.
Right? Yeah, I don't need
Fantastic.
any more. I got enough of my own. So I finished Alan Wake 2, and I have restarted my my playthrough of Cyberpunk.
Yeah. Oh God, yes. Oh my God.
I'm very excited about it. I was like, I need to drag my chair downstairs into the living room just to sit down. Get Cyberpunk in my Cyberpunk chair. Like,
Right.
I'm not gonna do that, but I kind of want to.
Worth it. Worth it.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about Andrew Colonnade says Arcane Realm is a little loud to me or not. It was Arcane. Thank you, chat, for letting us know how our volume is. Arcane.
I did warn you ahead of time. My voice can be quite overpowering.
He's like got his mic in his mouth. He's
Yeah.
like, I warned you. But no, you're
Wait,
fine.
Arcane, before we go on. Sorry, I'm gonna interrupt. Before we go on, I did the most crazy thing today, and I officially took out my mask out of
Yes.
the official pack.
The first thing I
packaging.
noticed in the backdrop.
I was like, Arcane's gonna be on. I gotta put my mask out.
Yeah.
So that's that. Sorry, Red. Interrupted
No,
you.
you're good.
Go
I'm
on.
sorry. I'm just trying to adjust everything for everyone. Oh, look at that. The volume button is
And-
still up. Fantastic. I love this. I'm the best. I'm the best at this. Go ahead.
And I am drinking my own home roasted coffee.
What?
So-
Explain this.
I have been learning how to roast coffee at home on my own. I love coffee. I'm a big coffee
So
nerd.
you grew a coffee tree, plucked the beans
No.
out of the tree.
No, not in Illinois.
Ah.
I ordered raw coffee beans, and I've been trying different beans from. These are from Haisha. These are called the Singing Rooster Blues.
That's made up.
Um,
You made that up just now.
Just now.
No, I'm so
yeah.
serious. I'm so serious. Yes. And I made some I can't remember. I made some African sourced coffee and a couple others. So it's turning out really good. I really like it. Fun thing.
That's
to do.
exciting. I love that. I realized how dark I was to everyone. But that's awesome. And I'm sorry, real quick, you said that you started playing Cyberpunk again.
Mhm.
And last night, okay, I mentioned that everyone in chat, everyone knows I did not sleep good at all. I just woke up in the middle of the night and just laid there with my eyes closed, awake. And yeah, it sucks. So that's why I'm sort of out of it and trying to just pretend like I have a lot of energy. But I looked over at my phone and I was like, "What time is it right now?" And you were like, "Hey, can't get the playlist to work." And I was like, "What are you doing right now?" Were you playing at 6 o'clock in the morning or whatever it was?
No, I was on the train.
Okay, so you just happened to wait, I forgot. Okay, because I was like, this is not the time to be playing Cyberpunk. You gotta wait till you get home. Something's going on. Something's wrong. I can't wait for you to try that, by the way.
Well,
Anyway, I don't want to.
so-
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's-
No.
I have YouTube Music. I don't have Spotify, and I hate commercials. So, Xbox, I know you're all listening to this podcast right now. Please, for the love of Pete, put in the application for YouTube Music to be able to play over a game, just like Amazon Music does, and just like Spotify does. Please,
Holly,
please.
you're
That
in
is my
luck
thing.
because I
They're too
created.
busy with achievements, aren't they? They're doing achievements.
They're doing
I
achievements. That's
recreated
right.
I recreated your list in YouTube Music.
You didn't have to do that. I created it on YouTube and then recreated it on Spotify. So if you're missing anything,
Oh.
look,
No, I created it, and then I started adding onto it. So I'll just share.
Oh, dude,
Sorry,
I love that. Listen, I could go on and on about the Cyberpunk playlist that I created that took me like months to do. I wasn't even playing the game. I was like, I'm not gonna play the game until I get this playlist done. Anyway, I love that you're doing that. It changes the vibe of the game totally. Like there are some times where I'm like,
Yeah,
let me skip
we
this
can share
song
it
for
too.
I
We
could.
can share it.
Maybe I will.
Yeah.
Maybe I will, chat. And there's still 12 people here, or I don't know how many people there actually is. But anyway, thank you all so much for being here. Assassin, a Palpatine just showed up. He said, "Yeah." Holly, just wait till you get to Phantom Liberty. Yeah, I haven't even got to Phantom Liberty yet, and I'm on a brand new play through. My final playthrough, by the way. Because this is the one I'm taking my time on. It's going to be my last time probably ever playing it. Maybe. Like, for at least, like, years. Like, until they come out with, like, a complete edition. Or they already did that, technically. But, and I'm, like, 42 hours in.
Before 2 comes out. And you're like,
Before-
oh, I want to replay a 1.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so... yeah, shout out to everyone in chat. And Assassin, we gave you enough time. Hopefully you're feeling better now. What you been into, man? How was your holiday? And what did you get for Christmas?
Fuck the holidays. I don't give a damn. I got Metal Gear for Christmas. My head is pounding.
Okay.
And I'm
You
laying
wanted to
down. And if I fall asleep, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
But
Assassin,
no,
Assassin,
I've
Arcane,
yeah,
you joined on like
yes.
the worst podcast episode.
Yeah, Assassin, if you're not feeling good, man, you seriously can go. I can switch over to 5.
No.
Okay.
What I've learned when you're feeling pain, you got to make yourself feel pain somewhere else. That's how you differentiate the pain. So I'm just repeatedly
You like
hitting
broke
my
your
knee.
finger?
No, I'm hitting my knee as hard as I can. And it's actually causing me a little bit of relief, but my leg, I can't feel it, but I don't give a damn.
Here, Assassin,
He's
Whatever
like,
I'm
I feel
playing
so
lately-
much better. He's like,
Here a Dino
twisted.
chicken nugget if you want.
Oh my
Thanks.
I'll
god.
If you
take a
can give me
story.
some ketchup on it, I'd appreciate it.
Oh, wait, no, sorry. Here's just. Oh, you want? There you go.
Good
No
lord.
ketchup, no ketchup. Stegosaurus.
Thank you.
I thought
Just open
I don't
your
know
mouth.
why, but
he was going to, like,
the,
just come at us and be like, talking to you guys is worse pain than what I'm feeling, so that's why I'm still doing the podcast.
That's what
I
I
can't
was
believe
kind
you're
of
actually
expecting.
serious about the Dino Nuggets.
Oh, he's dead
I'm not gonna
serious.
lie, looking at that Dino Nugget is actually making me feel better. I don't
He's
know why.
dead serious. Just as
Here, I'll
dead as
replace
those
the camera
dinos.
feed with just this. Well, that's not a good one.
Ooh, is that a turtle?
There you go. Replace it with just that. I'll keep that there the whole
Ooh,
show.
is that a Rhinoceros Rex?
Right. Okay.
There we go.
You're
I
good.
love it. All right.
What
man.
I've been playing lately?
Yeah, what you been playing?
I've been jumping back into Halo Infinite. I've got a lot of good clips showing how much fun I've been having. Also been playing some Dark Souls, because after Liza P, I've got that Soulsborne itch. I had a lot of trouble with the Bell Gargoyle bosses. So, you haven't played Dark Souls. You go up to the tower, you have to ring a bell. Gargoyle comes out, has a staff, breathes fire, and when you get it down to 50 health, it calls in a friend that's also 50 health. I swear to God, they were both breathing so much fire, I was backed into a corner numerous times. But here's the kicker. Just to show how stupid I am, I completely missed the blacksmith and I was fighting with a level 1 weapon against a level 15-20 boss.
That's pretty
That's how stupid I was. Yeah, so when I went to
Man,
the
you're
blacksmith
dumb.
and I upgraded my weapon, I leveled up my strength and endurance, went back to the boss and I one-shot of like, what the fuck? Like, are you that was easy.
Okay.
So
Oh,
yeah, that's
you
been
know,
my
and
Dark
dude, you
Souls
know that
experience.
there's actual like hardcore Dark Souls players that are like, wow, you actually upgraded it.
Because technically, what you gotta do is take it to the
Have
Wizard
you
of
tried
Light.
getting good?
Let me tell you,
Yeah,
speaking
well-
of Wizard of Light, let me tell you a song that's been stuck in my head since I played Alan Wake 2, and that's Herald of Darkness. I cannot get that song out of my head. It is so good.
Don't
It's
even
so
talk
good.
to me about that, dude. It's been on repeat, like ever since I finished the game, and then also ever since the live performance at the Game Awards, which was my second favorite thing about the show, next to the Blade announcement, was that live performance. It was just pure ecstasy.
Yeah, it was the first time I ever liked anything at the Game Awards that wasn't an announcement that was new. You know, other than it ending and Jeff Keighley walking off stage. I loved that part when it ended.
I mean, you didn't like Chris Chester's joke about COD?
Oh my gosh, so stupid. All right, you know what else is stupid? Let's just get right into, speaking of happiness, let's talk about not happiness. Okay, so My laziest, worst looking thumbnail I made out of anger, and it's because man, so gaming in general, especially if you're on Twitter, you are.
It's great. There's no problems ever. Everyone
There's
loves
no
one another. They all
negativity.
get along.
You all get along, and
Mark
the
was
thing
wrong.
is, like, I see this all the time, like as a consumer of YouTube for years. Like I see it all the time, so it's not like I'm surprised. It's just that I haven't seen this level of toxicity since Cyberpunk, actually. And funnily enough, which is not a real word, but I'll say it, funnily, back in September, Cyberpunk devs, CD Projekt Red, actually came out and sort of defended Starfield and said, this is par for the course. When you have a big game like this, with so many players, the toxicity is going to start flying around because this is what we dealt with. That's what they said. So sit on it, eat it, do whatever you want to do, cry about it. But these devs are not going to give up the same way that we didn't give up on Cyberpunk. And look at it now compared to, which is an excuse. We could have a whole separate conversation about releasing a game broken and then fixing it. Starfield wasn't broken. It just has fundamental core issues that
It has a lot of flaws.
Yeah, it has a lot of flaws that are just fundamental, like, feature issues, just stuff that, like you guys do. I don't have had to explain it to you. But what's insane to me is that, go ahead.
What's scary about it to me is exactly that mentality with the dev saying, "Oh, this is just normal. Like, you just gotta deal with it. Like, it is what it is, man." And that thought actually terrifies me, because what it says to me is sort of this. It almost encourages. Not because this one developer said it, like, I'm not calling out saying you shouldn't say that, because it is true, like, it's par for the course, but it's just that that's become kind of an overall accepted mentality, because it almost enables people to just get to retreat back and get sucked into these bubbles of, well, what we're doing is fine. Yeah, there's that angry crowd, but we're only going to listen to these people. They like the game that we made, and there could be problems with the game. There could be a lot of problems with the game, but this crowd of people, they really like it, so we're going to cater to them. So you get a company like Bethesda, and I don't know if everyone here has seen like Mr. Matty Plays his videos recently, where he's like, here's how to fix the game. Assassin, you released a great video recently that sort of talks about, like, hey, here's some of the things going on at Bethesda. But it almost, one of the core themes that I keep seeing popping up is Bethesda's sort of tracking down this direction that a lot of people don't like, but there's a segment of an audience within that plays these games that likes that, and this mentality, they're just going to retreat to that audience and keep going further and further and further. So you're neglecting this big crowd over here because you got this also big crowd over here. So it's, which way do you try to go?
Yep. I think
So who said this?
So this was CDPR back in September. It was like right alongside the launch of the game, and people were saying how garbage it was. And then you have of course the console war people, and people who whatever. I don't like the console war seriously, like, especially I'm being serious right now, and I don't want to like throw out jokes. But the console war stuff is an issue, but unless you're having fun with it, then it's fun and funny. But CDPR came out, Assassin, and they said, this is par for the course. Like, this is what we dealt with. And now look at Cyberpunk is essentially like, stick with it. You guys are doing great. Even if it's not your thing, you don't have a right to come out and be toxic about it. You are totally fine to come out and say, hey, I don't like this about it, because, like, as much as I love Starfield, like, there are things that I hope that they add, like crafting and stuff like that, like, but I'm not like yeah, like actually having junk.
Why they did do junk though,
and this is why CD Projekt Red is on my concerning list.
Well,
now,
hang on. Let me just before because I don't want to bury the lead here with what I'm getting at, because I'm gonna forget. So the toxicity is really the issue. Now, like I said before, I've been a consumer of YouTube for a long ass time. And Arcane and Damarco, you both have been doing, making content for a long time. I'm sure that you've gotten all the fun shit in the comments and been sitting there crying with your face in your dog's lap, and your dog's like licking the back of your head saying, it's gonna be okay, dude. This is like, I get comments like this where people are, so I got a comment that says, this is from Ricardo J. So Ricardo, if you're watching this, eat shit. No, I'm just kidding. This actually wasn't that bad. It says, finish it in 3 weeks. 3 weeks ago, after 484 hours of playtime, all achievements unlocked. Bought this premium edition on Series X, so Shattered Space will feel like it's a freebie when it arrives. It's the only thing that's going to bring me back to the game. Overall, it's a 7 out of 10 experience. Definitely the worst single-player RPG from Bethesda and Obsidian. Like many other players, I have just taken to going around and dunking on the game now. So...
Wait, why did he call it Obsidian? Obsidian has nothing to do with this. Like what?
He is just saying because Obsidian had a hand with Fallout. I think he's just comparing the style of game, like with the creation engine and that.
It's a troll review, honestly. The way it reads to me is a troll review. And this is another aspect of the toxicity, is like when the troll hive mind kind of sets in, everybody just kind of jumps on something, and it's not even necessarily because they hate it. They might even secretly like it. They just want to try and get a rise out of everybody else who does genuinely enjoy it.
For sure.
Yeah, that's my kind of thought. At least like with regards to that particular review. My thoughts on like the whole toxicity thing, like I'm with Damarco on this. Like I'm kind of startled that the CDPR dev is kind of like normalizing it. It's like, and it's sad that we're at this point now where it's like, oh yeah, this is normal. It's like, no, there's no reality where this should be considered normal or acceptable at all. This is ridiculous. Like it's gotten to the point now, I believe, and this makes me really depressed just saying it out loud. Gamers, maybe not the 5 of us sitting here like individuals, but like as a group, there's a certain group of gamers that just have no respect at all for the people who are spending years and mountains of effort to give you these experiences. The gamers have no respect. It's a matter of manners and respect, and they have none of it, seemingly. And it's just insane.
Do you wanna know the weirdest solution to it all though? Like actually a not going to happen but solution to it is
You need a reset.
Well, the whole world needs a reset, but that
we need a reset.
Not okay, but yeah.
But
1983. Let's go. Let's do it all over again. Everybody get back to the drawing board. Go ahead, DeMarco.
A game just releases. They have trailers for it, and it's done more like a movie. Like a movie, you get things like director's cuts and stuff that come out or whatever, but it's like, here's the movie, and then that's it. And instead of developers coming out and like, we're going to support this game for 5 or 10 years, where there's become this shifted mentality of, well, the developers are going to fix it. Well, we are going to get improvements, and you're going to have... I genuinely think that live service games have been completely toxic for the industry as a whole, as great as some of them are. Like, it's great. I love this game. It gets 4 years of support. They're doing it for 5 years. They're doing it for 6 years. It's still new stuff. Fortnite's still going strong. But if a studio just released a game, they're like, boom, there it is. Enjoy it. Don't enjoy it. Tough crap. We're moving on to our next one, and that was it. And they didn't market it. They didn't have these huge ongoing segments, because one thing I find so interesting is how engaged the gaming development community. I'm not saying this is like the best solution, I'm just saying it's a solution. It's like how engaged developers get with players, where they're constantly bouncing feedback off of one another. But you don't see that in any other industry. And so where I think a lot of the entitlement comes from is because we have broken down as gamers between content creators, primarily news outlets, modern day news outlets, and then of course the fans have broken down that separation of, there's the people working on the game, here we are. Now I can work on the game by offering all of my feedback and complaining about it, and Red can offer his feedback on the game by complaining about how much Starfield sucks, and Holly can do it, and Assassin and Arcade, and all of us in chat can talk about how much it sucks, and that's gonna change the development of the game. And I think it's been awful for the industry.
here's a take. Toxicity should not be acceptable no matter what the standard, no matter what the reason. But at the same time, it's we as gamers that should call out bad practices from studios and publishers, like the live service element. Yeah, some of it works. But there are some things, like you said, Damarco, it's just make gaming worse. Like,
Dude,
I remember the reaction that everybody. I remember the reaction to everybody when you look at Larian's Q&A for Baldur's Gate 3, and it said, "We believe in releasing a game that is feature complete." They're not setting a new standard. They're just going by the old standard that we as gamers have just forgotten because of this live service element. Whatever happened to releasing a game and just being done with it? No patches, no DLC, no expansions, no season passes, no nothing. Just releasing a $60 high quality game on day one with no problems.
I have an addendum to.
Yeah, let me just get my clamshell phone out. 2004 is calling. Gotta pick that one up. Yeah, no, that's not happening.
No,
Man,
excuse me, that's 2001. That is 2001.
Yeah, you gotta go further back.
Let me just say this, but I understand what you're saying, Assassin. I don't think that's not necessarily. Yeah, but I don't think that's like.
I don't think it's realistic.
Larian proved it's real.
Larian
I've got a couple
had
of mine.
years
Larian has half
of
the
early
team.
access, years of early
So
access and feedback and support from the fans for a long time. I mean, that's a whole other conversation. But I mean, a lot of studios
that where we have to go?
proved it. FromSoft proved it with Elden Ring. You know, that game was one and done. I mean, we have expansions coming, of course, but
God of War.
What I
Spider-Man.
think Spider-Man, yeah, like I mean, I don't think that's the issue. Starfield is not
No, I don't even count them.
Starfield,
I don't even count them in this.
Well, hang on. Starfield is not, to me, an incomplete, broken game. People play Starfield and they look at it and they say, it's just not, like this isn't fun. This part is boring. It's just like it's not hooking me. That's always what I hear when people talk about Starfield is. It's just not for me. But the toxicity comes in and they say it's garbage, it's trash, it's a bad game, and it's like, okay, you can formulate your opinion, but and again, this is just human nature that we're talking about here, having free will on the internet, hiding behind a screen. So I guess just to steer the conversation back to what exactly we're talking about here, is that it's come back up again out of nowhere. Okay. Up out of nowhere, and this started with when the Steam reviews came out recently, and as you can see in the thumbnail, I even clipped out someone has 872 hours in Starfield and they don't recommend the game. And the thing is, like, I joke about this all the time because it's a real thing. I mean, it happens all the time. It happens all the time with tons of games. 3,000 hours into it, I left my wife, wouldn't recommended it. She came back, she deleted the game. I want to rethink my life. Like, I always joke about that, but it's happening again because now Starfield is back in the
troll reviews. That's
right.
That's what that stuff boils down to.
Right, and I would like that to be the case, but it's like living rent free in people's minds so hard. I just lost a sub. Fuck you. No, I'm just kidding. No, come back. I love you. It's crazy to me, like that's all that it takes. And I've actually talked to people who have a ton of time in Starfield and they say it's just not for me, but they have like 120 hours in it, and I'm like, is that just the nature of Bethesda games versus you trying to find fun? But you still spent 120 hours of your time hating Starfield or trying to find fun. None of it was fun at all for you. Anyway, it's just trolly, and so I just want to steer this conversation back in that direction. And Assassin, I totally understand what you're saying, Assassin, and I agree with you. That's not what I'm talking about when it comes to Starfield right now.
I know. I'm just saying. No, look. So I did a top 10 games of 2023 video, And Red, we joked about it before the podcast even started. I put Starfield at number 10. It's not because I don't like the game. It's because it's just outdated for me. Like, it's basically what Skyrim was for me all those years ago, which is fine. I love Skyrim. It's my favorite Elder Scrolls game because it's technically the only one I've ever played. But it's just average to me. It's just normal. That's not to say that I don't agree with you and Colt and everyone else that likes it. I mean, if you like Starfield, that's fine. But at the same time, it's just I don't know how else to say it, but it just feels outdated to me. That's why I didn't stick with it as long as the other games that I played. But
How many
at the
hours
same
did you
time,
play?
45 to I think it was 45 and a half.
All right, are you giving a recommend or not recommend on Steam?
I would. There's no in between there on Steam, right?
No, you recommend it. You don't recommend it. You got 40. What are you saying?
He's got 45 hours, so you've got 4.5 seconds to answer.
Slightly recommend. I know the word
No.
slightly is not in there, but
Slightly
just
No.
recommend. Just recommend. I recommend, but again, it's fair choice.
Arcane. How many hours do you have in Starfield?
Yeah,
It
so
had 275.
no, actually, I have pretty much the same amount. I have just under 45 hours. I have not touched the game in approximately 2.5 months, for several reasons. And my ultimate goal is I do want to play through it and finish it because I want to see where the story goes and all of the quest lines and stuff. Like, I want to finish it just kind of for myself. At the same time, part of the reason I only have 45 hours is because those first 45 hours were so, like, just up and down in terms of quality. First, I'm a moron and I made the mistake of installing the game on my hard drive and not my solid state drive, so I was like, why am I only getting 30 FPS? And then I understood where I made my mistake and I was like, oh my goodness. Then I could actually run the game at, like, kinda sorta stable 60 FPS, but not really. I'm of a couple of different minds on the whole thing. I actually kind of put down some notes about it just now. So, kind of just going back to what Damarco had mentioned earlier, and I'm going to kind of take us off a bit on a tangent here, but I kind of just believe that the whole introduction of the live service business model was a mistake for the games industry from the get-go.
Fascinating story. Any chance you're nearing the end?
Yeah, thank you, Geralt. I'm going to
We can blame Epic.
I honestly am starting to get to the point where I feel like live services was a mistake to introduce into the industry because you've made this whole generation of gamers believe that, like, that's the only way that games can be done, how business can be done. And, like, you look at even the ones who have been doing it well over the past couple of years, like Bungie with Destiny. Like, look at where Bungie's at now with Destiny and all the layoffs and the bad press and just the fact that it's just not that great. Maybe that's a hot take, but and then as far as, like, the toxicity in surrounding Starfield, but also just kind of in general in the gaming industry, it's not a strictly black and white issue. I think it's easy for us to paint it as this very, like, good versus evil kind of thing. It's not. There's a lot of shades of gray there. The way I look at it is, like, there is a very clear distinction to be drawn between voicing your displeasure as a consumer, like, hey, I didn't personally like your game, you know, these were some things that I was not a big fan of. Like, you do it with a level of modicum of respect for the developers who spent years of their lives to make this game, right? So there's that. And then on the other side of the line is, like, just being a straight up despicable human being and sending death threats because you didn't like the fact that you couldn't romance that one companion. You know, like,
dude,
it's...
did you see the comments about like or hate them, whatever your position, but, like, Emil, the comments towards Emil Pagliulo?
I haven't actually seen any. Was this on
they're-
Twitter
yeah.
or?
On
Yeah.
Twitter, they're everywhere. They are disgusting. They're literally, like, the dude. He took to Twitter to explain just and I don't agree with everything he says all the time, 100% of the time, but he took to Twitter and he just made this long thread, and people were like saying, "Oh, you're the worst thing to ever happen to Bethesda. Like you absolutely suck. You should quit. Fire yourself."
Basically,
all of the worst
publicly
things that would make me not fall asleep at night.
Yeah, basically publicly crucifying him over something that a lot of people don't realize is not important in the grand scheme of things. These are video games, for Christ's sake. This is entertainment for so many people. It's art for other people, you know? Video games can be so many different things to so many people, but in the end, it's virtual entertainment. This is not a life or death matter, and it shouldn't be treated as such by these people. So I never saw those comments, but like I said, there is a clear distinction between voicing your displeasure as a consumer with respect to the developers who spent, again, Starfield was in development for how long? 8 years? Those guys put their heads down and worked on that game for 8 years. It's like, you know, these people should stop and take a minute and think about what they did over the past 8 years by comparison. You know, it's just crazy. Sorry, I'm trailing off here, but hopefully my point has been made. You're
good. Assassin, I'm curious your opinion. Do you think it would have made a difference if, and Red too, and Holly and Arcade, just all of you, every one of you, do you think it would have made a difference? Sorry, I'm slightly an idiot. So, do you think it would have made a difference if
relatable
the game was priced at $60 versus $70?
I don't think it would have made a difference, truth be told.
No, it wouldn't.
I think the game is what it is. A $10 price shift, I honestly don't think it would have made a drastic difference. And to be clear, like I don't think I even clarified a few minutes ago, like I like the game, what I've played of Starfield so far. And again, like I said, I do plan to play through it to completion and see what it has to offer, but I'd be lying if I said thus far my feelings have not been like supremely mixed. There are things that I enjoy about it. There are things that I don't enjoy about it. And I also haven't really been in a rush to go back to it because, you know, they're saying they're going to start updating it. We're going to get the DLC. We're going to get mod support. I had been playing the vanilla version that whole time, like minus any of the mods that came out around the time of release. So there have been so many other amazing games that I've been more focused on that I'm in no rush to go back to play Starfield. But at the same time, I am still going to plan on going back to finish it. So,
right, and I think that's a really fair take to say, like, it's not really for me right now, but I'm just gonna put it down for now. A couple people in chat were saying the same thing, and I'm that way. I stopped playing Starfield because I knew I wasn't going to stop. I was like, I'm gonna wait because content's gonna come out for this, and if I burn through all the vanilla content, and then when DLC and new features come out, I've already done all this stuff. I don't want to have to replay it. And of course, over time, you can come back and replay things, and it's sort of more fresh in your mind. You know, with The Witcher and like Mass Effect, for example, for me. That's why I stopped playing, and that's over like 200 hours. I don't know how much time I have. I have a lot. Gray Monad says 226 hours in Starfield and still haven't finished it. We'll be going back when the DLC drops. And I said to him, maybe he seems to understand the sim aspect of Bethesda games, because that's how I play Bethesda games. I play Bethesda games sort of like with my own head canon and like that's how I play games in general, single player games, walking around, taking my time, looking at things, looking at menus, talking to people, just wasting a lot of time. Like I have my most played game ever still is Skyrim. It's Skyrim, over 1,000+ hours. Like it has to be. Like it's insane. And that's not even including in the modding menu, not even playing the game. And you guys know what I'm talking about. Just sitting in the modding menu trying to get mods to work. And even that is fun for some weird crack reason.
You mean on
the creation clay? Yeah.
On Vortex?
No.
Fred's lying.
No. Yeah.
His most played game is Just Dance 2012.
Shut up. So Holly, you haven't spoken. I want to hear you speak. Have you played Starfield?
It's actually
What do you-
Yandere Simulator Assassin.
Holly, please, just say it. You haven't played Starfield.
No, I have 150, 170 hours in it. Something
And
like
you
that.
hate it, and it's trash, and you want to kill people on the internet.
Never play it again, ever,
Yeah.
ever.
Oh,
So bad.
wait, how many hours did you say, Holly?
150, 170, something like that. I was trying to look it up on my phone, but the Xbox app is
That's
a
half the
beautiful
amount of time that
enigma.
we've been waiting for DeMarco's next
Frustrating.
video.
150 hours.
It's funny because it's true.
Oof. That hurt.
Sorry,
so
Holly,
why
I didn't
did
mean to take
you-
your success.
Why did you put it down, Holly? Were you just like, got what I got, I'm done? Or were you just kind of like, I'll come back? You know, what was it?
You know, Starfield isn't the. It's hard to talk about Starfield, honestly, because at least to the way I feel about it,
Don't cry.
we all like we all like Bethesda games, right? So we understand a lot of the mechanics that come with those games, and we enjoy them, right? And that's not for everyone. I totally understand that. There are a lot of issues with Starfield that I feel like even as Bethesda people, like, and willing to be over encumbered and do all of these other things, right? They were too cumbersome for us. So if they're too cumbersome for us, how is that going to play out for somebody who can't be bothered with all those things, right?
Right, exactly.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Monad looked me up.
Dang it.
165 hours.
There you
There
I
we
mean
go.
that
Ah.
feeds into the toxicity conversation too, because people seem to not even realize, like, yeah, there are legitimate criticisms against the design of the game itself, the way it was designed, the way that it played out in the full release, and there's a difference between that and, you know, just spewing verbal diarrhea because, again, you didn't like this or you didn't like that.
What I'm going to love though, what I'm absolutely going to I'm gonna love it because I'm gonna hate to love it, is when it comes time for Elder Scrolls 6, and there's features that are in Starfield that seemingly are unanimously not liked. For example,
We're gonna have
and
ships.
I'm very
Yes.
passionate about this one. I'm very passionate about this one because I forever was saying how I did not think procedural generation was going to be like good for the game. And turns out, played Starfield. I have about 50 hours in it, I think, because I'm sorry, not 50, 73.9 hours in the game. And I would smack that not recommend button, personally.
Okay.
But I just got bored.
Damn.
And I said forever the procedural generation is not going to help the game. And people would argue and argue and argue with me saying, you don't understand how procedural generation works. It could be good. Look at some examples like blah, blah, blah. They can refine it. They can make it great. And they would argue and argue and argue with me.
I didn't mind that. part of
The
it.
empty base in space.
No,
I have a
that did
question
not
for you
bother me
guys.
actually.
The same
didn't bother
base
me
being
either.
on 7 different planets.
Which sounds better?
So that actually only
10
happened
planets.
to me after over 180 hours or whatever I have in the game.
Dude, I can't tell you.
I
how
kept landing
in
on a
10
planet,
hours.
and I remember landing. I'm sure you guys know this base. I landed in this. I was like, this base is amazing. It's like this cryogenic, overloaded, exploded inside. Everything's frozen inside. This huge base, and I was like, this is amazing. And I was like, this game is amazing. This dungeon is so cool. And like, I'm reading like the data pads and all that. And then like 20 hours later, you know, something like that, I come across another place. I'm like, oh, this looks like the same like the outside outpost. Let me go inside. It's probably going to be different. And it wasn't. It was the same dam. And I was like, fuck. That was actually when I started seeing that happen. Other than that, in my headcanon, because you can play Mass Effect, you can play, you know, whatever.
The head
other games.
cannon. Don't.
But
don't
listen, let me explain. whenever you play a game like Mass Effect or something, you're seeing the same outpost. It's the same assets. Everything's just plopped down all over the place. And then you go inside and it's a little bit different, right? Or like you have like certain hallways that are the same hallway with the same debris on the left side of the, like that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff doesn't bother me in games. I mean, you can't make every single little thing different. But it didn't bother me because like,
Yes, you can.
it did.
Well, okay.
It didn't bother. It just didn't bother me. It just didn't bother me at all.
You could do it if you didn't
There's
have to
a
worry
bigger
about 100
conversation.
planets.
It's actually 1,000 planets.
It's 1,000.
Dick.
Yeah. And I think those planets are set up for future expansion stuff, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but there's a conversation around the fact that so in my 165 hours, thank you, Monad, I never actually even finished the main story in the first time. There was all of this pressure about no, just mainline the story, don't do the side stuff. And I'm like, I always do the side stuff first and then finish off the story. What are you talking about, right?
Yep.
That freaked me out. And so then I was like, okay, I guess I'll start down the main quest. But then right around that time, which wasn't very long after it released to general public, it was like, oh, no, you should actually go do these side quests. If you want to do them, you should do them. And I'm like, all right. So like I went over and like it started. So I was like, oh, okay, like I'm gonna do all of the faction quests. Like the other side stuff, I'll hit here and there, not as big a deal. I'm just gonna do all of the factions first, and then I'll go back and do the main story. So then I kind of like I did Ryujin first, which was actually my favorite out of all of them. I did all of the faction quests. I think all of them done, and I got quite a bit down the main story, and I just got to a point where I was like, I've played this game for 165 hours. I have outposts that I can't do anything with because no matter how much I keep pumping my points in just to open the stupid effing outposts to have like the links so I don't have to have all of this over encumbered stuff going on, right? Like all of that, I still hadn't gotten to a point where I was like, okay, and now I get to build an outpost. And then when I got those points leveled up, I stood at this outpost and I'm like, well, what the hell do I do now? Like, I'm like, how do I build this? And then I'm like, I really see a lot of brilliance in Starfield, and I see so much in it that it could be just pure greatness, if that makes sense. There are a lot of indefinable issues, or very definable issues, that impede your experience, in my opinion. I'm not saying it's not fixable. It is, but it has to be A, they have to want to do that. B, acknowledge that, yeah, maybe we should have done this part a little bit differently, right? Because they might not. They might say, well, this was our vision and that's what it is, right? And stick to it. And I don't know. I mean, I do want to go back and finish it because I will say too, when I got to a certain point in the main story, which was sort of uninteresting to me, when I got to a certain point, I went, oh, whoa, okay, like now I'm hooked, let's go. But then the next missions you had to do, they were kind of like, again, right? Yeah. And I think that's where I got to a point where I just didn't have that hook to bring me back and to go further. And I do want to go back, and I do want to play more. But I just don't have that, like, I can't wait kind of thing, you know?
Well, and I think that an Assassin, you said they didn't have to make 1,000 play. Yes, they did. And I think the reason being because, again, I'm going to compare it to Mass Effect again. Because what would you rather have? 20 planets? It becomes finite. It just becomes finite. I don't care.
So is the game that won Game of the Year. It's fine. In fact, so is pretty much every game that's
let
won
me
Game
be
of the Year.
clear. Let me just be clear. I'm specifically talking about a game like No Man's Sky where you're supposed to be going from planet to planet, from system to system, and you're gonna have 7 systems with like what 20 planets.
For a lot of people though, and I would consider myself among said peoples, that is the game that we wanted from Bethesda.
We wanted the Outer Worlds just a little bit bigger. I played Starfield. You know how many times I saved an astronaut from a cavern on different planets? 6 times. It was not fun the second time. Like, for God's sakes, at least be creative and a little bit different. They even use the same voice actor, the same character model. It's just, come on, like.
Dude, my first time playing, I found a farm, and then I was like, all right,
It wasn't fun.
I was exploring a planet, and I saw a farm, and then I walked 1,000 feet in that direction. I was like, all right, maybe the next location. Pull up my scanner, see a new location. I'm like, great, let's go explore this location. And it's the exact same farm with a weapon in the exact same spot, with gear in the exact same places, with the exact same loot. It was.
If someone told me to describe Starfield in a sentence, I would say, for me, if there was a video game that embodied the term blue balls, it's Starfield. There's just so much potential. There's just so much. Just good potential, but there's just no release for it. It's like, okay, well, that's great. Moving on.
Hey, okay, shut up now. It was.
I think there were a lot of good
I
ideas.
quit Mass Effect.
There were a lot of good ideas on paper.
Well, hang on.
I got tired of
hang on.
exploring
Go ahead.
planets.
You got tired of exploring planets on Mass Effect, a game that's finite, that we were just comparing Starfield to, that you would prefer. Go ahead.
Sorry, what was the question?
You dug yourself into a hole with that one, Assassin. I can't defend you with this one. You're on your own here.
It's fine.
That's why. No, here's my defense though. With Mass Effect, I'm just not gonna explore those planets. Like, the thing that I like about Mass Effect more than Starfield, at least it tells you that there's nothing there. So if there's nothing there, I'm not going to it. If there's a city or a quest that I have to go and do it, then I'll do it. But if there's nothing there and it's just resources, I'm not going there. Starfield doesn't give you that. It'll give you like, oh, here's an outpost or something. But there's no guarantee that outpost is going to have something unique. Like, come on.
Yeah, I think Arcane, you were about to touch on this, but it was my philosophy on it was that like it's Starfield is like Star Wars to me. The concept of it, I love. The execution of it, I'm like, I'll watch it.
There's my defense, Red.
I'll watch it.
That's fair.
I'll watch Star Wars. I'll play Starfield. But at the end of it,
when I go back to Mass Effect in a couple days, wherever I am, I'm just gonna stay there. And if there's a planet that I have to go to that has something to do, then I'll go there. But if there's nothing there, I'm not going.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing that people compare to with No Man's Sky. Like, everyone was like, you just land on a planet, it's the same thing, blah, but it's infinite in No Man's Sky. But somehow people found a way to like that. I don't know. I don't understand. I think that there maybe it's like the comparison with the pedigree of Bethesda game compared to a nobody like Hello Games making a space game that's like infinite, and the people are like, it's boring.
Well, the answer's simple.
I get that, but
it's like
we killed the Batman.
It's like what Arcane. It's like what Arcane and I talked about a few weeks ago.
I love
Players'
that.
expectations have just dimmed down.
Thank you.
They're just non-existent. Our goals and our standards have gotten so low. Whenever we get a game like Elden Ring or Baldur's Gate 3, it just blows our minds. Like, what?
I think that's
it should
actually
be the standard.
I think that's the complete opposite. I think our standards are so fucking high that anytime we get a game like Starfield, if we were to have gotten a game like Starfield 7 to 8 years ago, you're telling me, I'm sorry, I'm not yelling at you, I love you. If you're telling me that people wouldn't have lost their fucking mind if Starfield came out before No Man's Sky, I bought a fucking PlayStation for No Man's Sky because it was unheard of.
I think it would have been worse.
No.
I think it really would have been worse.
I think that question of would it have been better received 7 to 8 years ago speaks to how outdated a lot of the game
but
is.
let me I totally understand that. What I'm saying is that the more thank you. The more every time that a new AAA game comes out and they try to do something different, nowadays they're just capitalizing on something else that's already been done. And that's just the entertainment business in general. We're getting remakes of things all the time now. We're getting superhero movies left and right. The market is so saturated. Every single fucking game is a first-person shooter for no reason. Like, and that's just my preference. I'm not saying there's anything
We're
wrong
not
with
going to
but
have
it's
that
like-
argument again. Do I need
But
to list
I'm
every
just
single
saying,
third-person game in
I-
existence again? Because I'll do it.
I am just saying
I'll do
that
it.
nowadays the appreciation for games is just like everyone's so fucking spoiled because we have a ton, so many different genres of all these different games, and then a game like Starfield comes out and there isn't that minute-to-minute Call of Duty action that somebody jumping
I
in
don't think
expecting an
that's the
action
problem,
game is.
though, Red.
No, it's ridiculous. And then like somebody jumps into Baldur's Gate 3, for example. They expect an amazing epic RPG, and then they're like, "Oh, it's turn-based. This game sucks." It's like, no, it doesn't suck. It's that you don't prefer this one aspect of the game, and that's just
It's different
entertainment in
strokes
general.
for different folks.
Exactly.
It's
So that's what I'm saying. That's kind of
You
my
can
point.
you can find many things wrong with any game if you look hard enough. Like for me as an Assassin's Creed fan, I admit
Oh, you
I
like
talk
Assassin's
a great
Creed
game.
Assassin?
I don't believe that.
Yeah, I agree. Very funny. I talk I have
Yeah.
massive praise for the older games, but I can still find some faults in it if I want to. It's the same with Resident Evil, Final Fantasy, Mass Effect, Metal Gear. It doesn't matter. You can find
Assassin, do
faults
you
in no
like
matter
any-
what game.
Do you just an honest question? Do you like any Bethesda games? Are any of them in your top 10 at all? Like,
Skyrim is my number 2 all-time favorite game of all time.
okay. Do you
Fallout
like
is
any
not
of
for me
Fallout?
because I don't like post-apocalyptic worlds, but yeah. If I had to put Starfield somewhere on my BGS, it's literally my second favorite BGS game ever. I did not like Fallout 4 for what it was. I did not. Fallout 3 would be right below it. And Oblivion.
Okay.
That's yeah.
I was
know.
just curious
My ranking
because
sucks.
it may be no, it like to Red's point, right? Like it may be that the genre isn't necessarily your cup of tea versus the actual game. And I think Starfield has a lot of problems. Like I said, it's not. I think there are very valid issues that people have brought up, but I do think there's really good bones to it.
And just
Yeah,
just
I'm
so
not
I can
saying that
end,
there's not.
just so I can end on my point. All I'm saying is, I haven't gotten tired of certain aspects of games that continue to be repeated. So like, I continue to love all Bethesda games because I know what to expect, and I said that before the game was ever released. I know what to expect out of a Bethesda game, and it still hits for me in Starfield. So when people compare games, like, it's trash, it's garbage, it's a bad game, it's like it's almost like you've eaten too much of the same thing for so long and it starts to get old. Doesn't mean that it tastes bad. It's just that you are so used to eating that same thing over and over and over again. Some people might like it. Like I said, have you tried lasagna? If someone eats the same lasagna every single day, some people never get tired of it. That's me. I never get tired of it. But I'm not gonna sit here and
I
make
know.
excuses for bad design or missing features or anything. That's all that I'm saying. So when I
No
say
cheese.
gamers are spoiled, that's what I mean. Like, I don't mean like
I think to play devil's advocate on your side, not opposite you, Red, but like what you're trying to say is like, and I agree 100%. Tastes change. My tastes have certainly changed from when I was like, gosh, 10 years ago. I can think about what kind of games I was playing versus now. It's about having the mental maturity and the wherewithal to know that, like, as the years go on and on and on, your tastes are going to change. Games that I liked 10 years ago, I might not like them as much now, you know. So, and
Yeah.
you know, I think Starfield is is perfectly applicable to that argument. You know, I love Fallout 3. I love Skyrim. I thought Fallout 4 was decent, you know. We won't talk about Fallout 76. I enjoy aspects of Starfield. It's getting to that mental point where you're like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I have had my fill of this particular kind of experience. Maybe I need to start looking for something different, you know. But again, that's another aspect of the toxicity thing. Not everybody has the ability to kind of self-reflect and kind of understand that, like, your taste in games is going to gradually sort of change, either subtly or not so subtly. It's going to kind of change over time. So
that's the mindset that I've been going for a while. Go ahead, Damarco.
Has anyone seen Gopher Vid's discussion on whether Bethesda needs a new game engine?
I think they do.
I saw the video pop up. I haven't watched it though.
Okay. His argument, and it's applicable. I'll come around. His argument is essentially that Bethesda does not need a new game engine because the problem is not inherent with the game engine, because you can play Skyrim, and a lot of people play Skyrim.
I agree.
And they love Skyrim. And so, therefore, it is a problem with things in the game itself. I think Starfield faces a very similar issue. Like, Red, you can play it, and you love that game, and that's fine, and there's an audience. The other side of that audience, my side of that audience, and people who think like me, I see Starfield, and I see potential. Holly, you see potential that can be realized. I see fundamental flaws with the decisions that they made that cannot be redeemed with Starfield. Because and the argument in that, well, you might just be tired of that type of game. It's not, because I would happily play Skyrim too. In fact, I've started playing Skyrim again, and I have loved every single second of me playing Skyrim. And mind you, that's a game, you want to talk about eating too much of the same thing. That's a game that I have started over probably about 700 times, because I still haven't finished Skyrim. I have only ever finished the...
I haven't either.
Yeah, I haven't finished it. I have not finished any of the DLCs or the main quests, but I have started probably about...
You can leave Skyrim, but Skyrim will never leave you.
Skyrim will always,
Believe me, I've tried.
be touching you, and Todd Howard will always be selling it to you.
Okay,
and
that
so,
touched me.
Oh, well... Damn.
And
okay.
but my point being is that with Starfield's divisiveness, yes, there's a toxic side to it. Absolutely, I think that's unarguable that there's a bunch of people that just suck, and I hate them, and I hope their pillow's warm on both sides. And I don't have the time nor the crayons to explain why they're horrible people sometimes. But what I will say is that Starfield is a game. It's definitely a game.
Starfield is a game. End of
Starfield
discussion.
Starfield is the game of the...
That's all I've been trying to say,
Starfield
guys.
is the game.
Starfield is a game that has problems with it unequivocally, and it's not because people are tired of it or because people have wrong opinions, and there is that audience that exists, but there's a large crowd of people that do not like those decisions in that game design. The same way that there's still people who defend, for example, Fallout 4 and the voice protagonist, and they said Starfield should have had one, and Elder Scrolls 6 should have one, and all Bethesda games should have voice protagonists. There's a lot of people who think that.
No.
There's a lot of people who think that.
They're wrong.
Yeah.
Likewise, there's a lot of people...
says,
he's
I
actually
haven't
right.
played the Rim. Yeah, Sheena, she's like, it sure is a game. It sure is. Objectively, it is a game. I said I love Starfield in a comment before the show started. I said I love Starfield. They said, love is a human emotion. Therefore, it has biases. Therefore, it cannot be objective. I'm like, shut the fuck! Oh my god! I just want to put my fist through my phone, put my phone in my mouth.
You should have said?
Yeah.
You should have said, is that what your mother told you after she gave birth to you?
Oh, damn. I'm doing it right now. I'm going back. Editing comment. That's really good. I like that.
The last thing that I want to say about Starfield before we move on to the next topic is just that kind of going back to the discussion about 20 planets, 20 highly detailed explorable planets versus 1,000 planets with like tons and tons of procedural generation. I think, and I think what was it? Bruce Nesmith in that interview was saying, well, I think he said something to the effect of, we realized that we could do 1,000 planets, so we decided to. And I think the mistake was the Bethesda Game Studios team not realizing that just because you can decide to design your game in such a way doesn't mean that you should. I think it was a misunderstanding of what people were looking for. So, I mean, that's the last thing I would say is I agree. I think maybe 20 to 30 really highly detailed. Yeah, you can still use procedural generation. That's such an integral part of. Yeah, you would have to, right? Like, it's such an integral part of the way they design things. But I just think that Starfield suffered a lot from overindulgence in the procedural generation when they could have easily pulled back a little bit and been like, no, let's kind of make it a tighter experience. And I'm a little bit biased saying that because my personal tastes is like I like a more not like super open world overwhelming experience. That was part of the reason why I almost kind of dropped Starfield after 45 hours, is because it was just so overwhelming how many planets there were to explore and how massive in scope and scale the game was. But
just
yeah, that's the
me
last
of that
thing I wanted to
quote
say
from
about
Jurassic Park, Hurricane, that infamous saying, "You were so busy trying to find out if you could do it, you never stopped to think if you
never
should."
stopped to ask yourself if you should. Yeah, exactly. That's the
Exactly.
basis of what I wanted to try and say there. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's my last word on Starfield.
Relevant.
So the last shining light thing I'll say about it is,
Yes, be our shining light. Take us out of the darkness.
Well, yeah, we should end on this
You're gonna
note.
be the champion of light. I'll show
By the way,
you the
everybody,
herald of.
you're not
Okay,
gonna
no,
play
you don't get it. Okay.
If you're not gonna play
I'm so
Alan
sorry.
Wake 2, you just need to
I
pull
should
up
go.
somebody on YouTube playing Chapter 4 Weesing, because it is the most amazing thing you've ever seen.
It's
ever.
so amazing.
But
yeah,
it is. And I heard that before I did it, and I was like, hey, whatever. And then I did it, and I was like,
I don't
I
even
want
think
to replay
watching.
this.
and
I
then
don't
like
even think
pointing
anyway.
for
watching a
like,
video.
and I'm like,
yeah.
Watching somebody else play it is such a disservice to it because everyone deserves to experience
Yeah,
that
but not
themselves
everybody
for the
wants
first
to
time.
play it. Yeah, but
Yeah,
not
you
everybody
never
wants
know.
to play an Alan Wake, right?
Yeah, but Damarco has to
So-
finish the
If
first
I-
game
if
before
I
he can
could
even play the
force-
Play the
second.
first one.
If I
Bruh.
could force every human being on planet Earth to play Alan Wake 2, I would. It is genuinely that good, but that's a
No.
different discussion. So
Arcane, you want me to play Alan Wake 2?
That's a whole nother discussion that we
I
I'm
want
gonna stream
everyone and their
Alan Wake
mother to play
just
Alan
for
Wake
you,
2.
Arcane. And if you
Give me a
don't show
physical
up,
copy.
You
if
know
you
what?
don't show up, Arcane, to every stream that I do of Alan Wake 1, I'm gonna stop playing the moment you don't
I
show
can't
up.
I can't make any promises that'll
Yeah.
show up to every stream.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what though, I will have very in-depth narrative and story discussions with you if you would have them, because there are so many layers to that
Every
narrative.
single stream for the entire stream, and you need to be chatting. You can't be lurking. You need to be chatting for it. Otherwise, I'll consider that an acknowledgement that Alan Wake 2 isn't as good as you say it is.
Wow.
But what if
All
Alan
right, since
Wake
Hollywood
2?
is not
What
able
if
to take us out
Alan
of the
Wake 2?
darkness-
Hang on. What if Alan Wake
Hey,
2 had 1,000 planets?
Who
I have
you
a
asking?
question,
Why
remedies,
is it-
incompetence.
It does. Anyway, no wait. So I would argue with you about Alan Wake 2 in a couple ways, but that's another discussion. My final point on Starfield, just to kind of like put a happy cap on it.
Yeah, please.
Here I come.
Is
Woohoo!
and just mute assassin for the rest of the time. Or just
There you
kidding.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing about Starfield, Jez Corden tweeted like right after the new year, kind of like after you and Cole had your thing with Lone Wonder, and the thing he wrote, which I read it and I went, that's it. Like, I absolutely agree. He said there's a lot of negativity around Starfield in this moment, but I fully believe that in the future, history will look on Starfield very favorably and have a much history will look very positively back on Starfield.
Can I
for a lot
tell
of
you
reasons.
why that's a stupid statement?
And can I
Wow.
tell you
No.
evidence to
What
back
the
that
I
up?
don't really want to hear it.
Yeah.
May you indulge me for a second?
And me.
It's a silly,
Do I have a choice?
It's not a
No.
stupid.
Let me tell you why you're an
No,
idiot.
you don't. It's not a stupid comment. It's a bit of a silly one because it's inevitably going to be truthful. Because the fact of the matter is there's a lot of people who do love the game, and eventually this toxicity, this crowd is going to move on, and the trolls are going to get bored, and the people like me who are sort of in the middle will move on. I just won't talk about it anymore. And who's
True.
going to be left is the Reds and the Hollies and the other people. Colt is playing it right now, right? So that's what's.
But it will
going to be
also have a
remaining.
lot of patches. It'll have a lot of extra content. It'll have
I'm
things
going
that come
to
along that
ruin
do
your
help
argument,
pull it
DeMarco,
along.
as well as Holly's.
Let's all just hate
Because
each other.
Because me and Red are literal proof
We're
that
never-
does not
This
exist.
is the last
or that
episode
does
of
not
the
happen.
Renegade Realm
The
podcast.
final episode.
Because I know Red will agree with me on that. You say that the trolls will leave, and that all that will be left are people that like the game. Me and Red are living proof that's not true. And Red, you know which game I'm talking about here. A little
Wait.
game called The Last of Us Part 2.
Oh,
God,
I
that's
hate
never
that
gonna
game.
change. That's
No,
never gonna change
I
for
will
me. I hate that game.
vehemently argue with
Exactly.
you. Me too.
This is what I'm
I
talking
hate
about.
that game.
Not everybody
But
hating on the
it's
game is a
divisive
troll.
in a different way, though. That's
Yeah, it's
But
not the
is it
same.
really though?
Yes,
It's-
very
yes.
yes. I don't think the
It
two are. I don't
challenged
think the
Naughty
two are
Dog's
equatable.
ideals as a developer. It's the same way Starfield is Bethesda. Just in a different way, like you guys said, but it still challenged them.
No, but the
Yeah.
problem it's different. It is
different.
It is inherently different because one is destroying characters that you know and love, and that it's doing complete injustice to a otherwise phenomenal story and world and universe that. I mean, the world of The Last of Us isn't
I
destroyed by
like how
it's still-
DeMarco is like. It's from the sounds of
But
it. It
it's
sounds like
also
you
a
didn't like the story either,
politically
DeMarco.
driven-
I actually liked The Last of Us 2. There's
Yeah,
parts of it
I
that
thought you did.
Oh,
there's parts of it that I absolutely
Traitor.
hated. There's parts of it that I felt like some of the writing was the absolute dumbest thing I've ever seen. It was just completely Grey Monad's calling me funny. It was some of the dumbest things.
Kick
I've
him out,
ever seen.
Arcane. You're the new member of the podcast.
We'll have you on anytime.
As new member of the podcast, I would like to state publicly, let us move on to the next topic of discussion.
Well, we only
Yes,
have about
as a matter of fact,
23
so-
minutes.
So I love how Holly said, how you said that Holly's a champion of light. Now here I am, the Knight of Darkness, to bring you all back
Herald of Darkness,
because
but that's okay.
Herald-
I'll forgive
Herald
we're
of
you.
Darkness,
discussing
yeah,
our
there you go.
our game of the year. So Red, take it away.
Yeah,
We're
let's
going
get
back
outta
to
here.
Starfield.
Let me just say hello to Jessica Starr, who, if anyone, and Jessica, if your account that you're on right now is your main channel, I would encourage people to go check her out. She is such a nice person. Haven't seen her at all since Starfield launched. Coincidentally. So shout out to you and thank you so much for jumping in, and also Umbra's here. So anyway, no, I'm kidding. Umbra, thanks for jumping in, bro. It's always good to see you, and I feel like I can like smell you, like I can smell your musk. Like, you're very like musky, like manly musk, like that kind of thing.
Why do you
I just
do
got
this?
Aspen for
Jessica,
Christmas.
Wait. Before she said, if Alan Wake had 1,000 planets, I think we'd need a bigger flashlight, and I just really love that comment.
What did you? What? I didn't even. I totally. Oh my god! I totally missed that. That is such a good
Oh
evaluation.
my
was
god,
really good.
that's actually.
We're gonna need a
that's
bigger
good joke.
flashlight. That's the Alan Wake DLC. You're just like, we're gonna need a bigger flashlight. Pew, Alan Wake 2, the Starfield inning, or whatever.
At that point, you're just gonna need a huge ass lighthouse.
Right? Exactly. Your ship is just made of a lighthouse. Oh, I love it. I love it.
All right, game of the year discussion. Red, take us back to
Game
Starfield.
of the year. All right, so my game of the year is Starfield. That's it. And that is true. Yeah, just real quick, let's just run down what our game of the year is for everyone. Just talk about.
I
what we
think
love.
once you finish Alan Wake 2, Red, you will feel very differently.
Okay, look, yeah, I'm not there. I'm Where can I, Scott? The way that I play games. Can someone look up my time in Alan Wake 2? I think I'm like 12 hours in? I don't know how much time I have in that game, but I'm still.
You're 16 hours in.
Yeah, I'm still not at the. I keep hearing about this old people's home. I'm still not there. So if that tells you where I'm at.
Ooh, I can't wait to
house?
talk to you about that part.
Yeah, I'm still not there. So again, I'm exploring. I'm gonna have like 40 hours in the game before I'm done with it. But
Yeah.
anyway, so Arcane, what was your game of the year? Since we're now in January, Capricorn. Capricorn
If it wasn't already obvious by now.
It was.
So, going back to how I started the podcast here, unfortunately I just was not able to find the time or the energy to play all of the amazing games that came out in 2023, which is why I feel like going into 2024, a lot of my time is going to be spent clearing my backlog of all of those amazing games that came out last year. But there were two in particular that I did play last year, right around the time they released. The very first one, ironically, was at the top of the year, and that was in January. And it was this itsy-bitsy tiny little game from a basically up-and-coming studio in Japan called Tango Gameworks. Nobody's really familiar with them or any other stuff, but it was a little game called Hi-Fi Rush. And
Hell yeah!
Oh, yeah.
Rush,
Wow.
you want to talk about a bomb being dropped. It's like, okay, here's this like AAA quality single player game. It's maybe 15 to 20 hours. Like, it just screamed the kind of game that I love. Now, I don't usually, when it was like, yeah, this is a 3D third person action platformer, but it's rhythm based, and I'm like, okay, but I played through the whole thing. I loved it from beginning to end. It is just, and I also had the biggest smile on my face. It's one of the funniest games that I've played, probably ever, not even just of last year.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. And I went through the rest of the year playing a very select group of games, and that was the one that was still on the mountain peak. I was like, that is the pinnacle for me for 2023. Now, Alan Wake 2 was one that I was more kind of curious about. I had only just barely finished the first original Alan Wake back in like July in the summer. And the gameplay itself of the first one is not amazing. It's the story. It was the narrative that gripped me. I was like, holy cow, this is incredible. It's such a meta narrative. There's so many layers to it. And then I played Control, which is from the same developer, Remedy. And that's a very different kind of game, very kind of action-oriented, third-person shooting, a lot of like supernatural, paranormal elements to it, government cover-up, conspiracy stuff. But I played that because Remedy are now connecting their games in a single intertwined universe, much like the MCU. So going into Alan Wake 2, I was curious more than anything. I'm like, okay, this is their first stab at a survival horror game. They've never done survival horror before. Their games, the first Alan Wake had horror elements, but it wasn't a straight up spooky. It was more of a spooky game and not a scary game. So diving into Alan Wake 2, and I remember when the review scores came out, I was like, holy cow, it's like 9s and 10 out of 10s across the board. Like, I need to play this ASAP. And after 30 hours, just on my first playthrough, it's a long game. It took me 30 hours on the first playthrough. Mm-hmm. From beginning to end, I was gripped. I was basically from the first hour, I knew this was going to be my new game of the year. I was like, I just knew it. And constant twists, constant surprises, constant scares, the back and forth swapping between the two characters. I've never seen a dual protagonist system handled better than it was in Alan Wake 2. Genuinely,
Do you switch between them during the game, or do you pick one at the beginning?
Yeah. So you start the game as Saga. It's not a spoiler.
I have no idea who anybody is. I don't know anything about Alan Wake.
Okay, well, it's okay. I will guide you through that first game when you decide to eventually play it. But
I'm just downloading right now.
Oh, okay, awesome. So Saga Anderson is an FBI agent, and she's investigating these cultish, ritualistic murders in a small town in Washington called Bright Falls. So it's in the Pacific Northwest, and which is a setting that I'm familiar with because I'm kind of in that area myself, roughly. And you start the game playing as her, but then eventually Alan Wake gets involved, and it's such a there's honestly hardly any words that I could use to really describe
And
the experience.
I would
It's so
recommend
singular.
Damarco.
There really is no other game like it.
I
is
would
a
recommend
truly unique
Damarco.
experience.
And I'm sorry to cut you off, but I would recommend, Marco, you at least watch like the movie version of 1 or something just to get involved with the character.
I'm downloading 1.
Oh, you're downloading. Okay, I'm sorry. Now I feel even worse for cutting you off. Arcane. I just didn't want you to say anything at all.
Believe me, I genuinely believe that everyone should experience this game. I do not want to spoil anything about this game at all. Some of it has already been spoiled for a lot of people. If you watch the Game Awards, you know there's a full-blown musical section in the game, which is incredible. I had a smile on my face that whole time. I was like, I understand. I was the Danny DeVito meme. Oh my god, I get it. But I think the thing that surprised me the most about the game, going into it and playing through it, I was like, this is like the perfect sequel. It takes everything that the first game did well and just takes it up to 11. And like, anyone who knows me personally knows that Dishonored 2 has been my favorite sequel of all time for years and years and years. And Alan Wake 2 managed to surpass that and become my new favorite sequel of all time. Like, that is how much I enjoyed it. That is how much I believed. I still believe it is a massive improvement over the original. And I am planning on putting out kind of a more detailed video with my thoughts on the game at some point in the future. So if anyone's interested, you can keep an eye on my channel for that. But I've been taking my time with that particular video and that script because I really want to do that game justice. I was so happy to see it win all those awards at the Game Awards and see Sam Lake dancing on stage. I was like, I just feel so happy for those guys, man. They deserve it. This game is just incredible.
Here to hear, folks. He's rebranding from the Arcane realm to the Remedy realm.
He's gonna become Arcane.
Why does that have a nice ring to it?
The Remedy realm.
It does work.
I am going to start talking. I would love to start talking more about Remedy's games because I'm like, how have I avoided them for this long? I played Alan Wake, Control, Alan Wake 2. I still need to play the original Max Payne games. I want to go back and play Quantum Break. Like, I can't believe I've missed out on Remedy for this long. Like, so I would love the opportunity to be able to talk more about them on my channel because they're honestly starting to become one of my favorite developers in the business right now. Like, right up there with Arcane Studios, which is saying a lot coming from me. So
this is what I'm talking about. A Bethesda content creator that goes outside of his way. Experience awesomeness.
Okay, so I played Alan Wake Remaster in October before 2 came out. And I played Control when Control came out, and I liked Control. I had some issues with it. So Alan Wake 1 Remaster. Okay, this is gonna be nasty, and you're not gonna like it. But so Remedy.
Oh no!
Is probably one of the absolute best world building, story driven, like immersive, just all of the sauce around you.
Agreed.
Building studio. It's amazing. And I absolutely love that they tie all of these games into the same universe, right? I think that is just a way cool thing to do and appreciative to fans that have played their games and all that stuff. I think they are top notch in that. They are absolutely horrible at combat, though. I hate the combat system in Alan Wake. Even at Control, it was better for me, but I still just didn't enjoy it. I always feel like I'm fighting the controls more than I'm fighting the bad guys.
Yeah.
Right?
I actually
understand that
turned on
perspective, yeah.
control. I turned control onto invincibility one-shot mode. I got so tired of it.
This is what I did with Alan Wake 2. I was getting so mad at that game. And I said, I'm not enjoying the story. I don't even want to play this. And I was playing on normal, right? Like just basic, right? And Damarco, the king of, I need to play on super hard or it sucks, right?
He's gonna have a hard time.
We gotta watch you play this now. You must let us know.
Okay, now I gotta watch
Say
this.
it sucks on the hardest difficulty. I just say that there needs to be, when I play video games, I don't want to just mindlessly be like pew pew bang
Look,
bang.
if you don't play this on the hardest, so here's
You're gonna regret it.
I started Alan Wake 2 and I got 5-10 hours in. I was so fucking pissed. I just went, either I'm going to stop playing this or I'm putting it on easy, because the point of these games is not the combat. The point of these games is the story and the other elements that are put into 2 that aren't in 1, and you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you know, for what it's worth, like I completely agree with you. The combat in the first Alan Wake, super dated. There are fun aspects about it. It is pretty dated though. The game came out in 2010. Control suffers a lot from like spongy enemies was my main issue with it. It's like by the time you get to the final act of the game, it's like enemies are taking 3 times as many bullets to put down, and you're using a lot of mods for your weapons and whatnot. Alan Wake 2, I think it's the most refined combat system that they've had thus far. I really do, especially in the context of it being a survival horror game. Like it's very much like it's a lot like the over-the-shoulder Resident Evil games is basically
Resident
the best
Evil
comparison
does good
that you can
combat. Resident Evil does excellent
I don't
survival
mean to
horror
make it
combat.
sound like I'm suffering off everybody tonight, but that confirmation that Capcom still is the king of combat when it comes to survival horror, thank you for that. Appreciate it.
100%. No, and honestly, I know this sounds crazy. I thought that combat in Alan Wake 1 was better than in 2. And
now that's a hot take I haven't heard before.
And
I really
I mean,
hate to
I
say,
played the
Holly,
remaster. It was the remaster. I played it in October. And I was able to get through it on normal. I mean, it was annoying, but whatever, right? But 2, I was just like, this is flippin' stupid. I hate this. I'm not enjoying myself. And I like survival horror games, especially I like Resident Evil a lot. I put it down on story mode just to be able to enjoy the actual game. And even then I got slightly annoyed sometimes, but not like I did before. It just, their combat, I know they're trying to do something different, but it just doesn't work.
Understandable.
But all of the other stuff, top notch, perfect. They're amazing, right?
So, Damarco, what's your game of the year, and why is it Planet of Lana?
Oh, that was such.
That's actually, I mean, yeah, that's actually a fair.
That's still on my wish list. Actually, I didn't catch that whole
Oh.
stream that you did, but I watched enough of it to where I was like, I should probably check this out. This actually.
Dude.
Sorry, did I catch you off guard?
I'm surprised that you remembered that, but because I forgot.
You
I
wouldn't
played
shut
that
up
game this
about
year.
it.
I forgot I played it this year. No, dude, it's what you want in that type of indie game. In that it's simple, it's beautiful, it has stellar music, it has not enough music where you're like, oh my god, why didn't they do more music? But it has not too much music where you're like, okay, I can't remember a single track name. Yeah, and it has, for any kind of those Zen sort of puzzle, explory, artistic-y games, it needs to have this just big grand moment where you just sit back and you're like, oh, the games are so good. And it had that in spades. I was in tears when I was playing. I was like, oh my god, games are so cool. And so I just loved it. I loved it to bits. But obviously my choice is going to be a little game called Baldur's Gate 3.
So Holly, no. I figured that's what it was gonna be. Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3, hands down. I haven't beaten Baldur's Gate 3 yet, but I have had so much fun with it. Divinity 2, I was honestly surprised that people were taken back by Baldur's Gate 3 as much as they were, where as someone who's played Divinity 2, loved Divinity 2, and I was not like, I'm not a long-time Larian fan. I didn't play the original Divinity, Original Sin. I have not played Divine Divinity. You know, I jumped on at the point where getting the super extra deluxe special version of Divinity 2 was like $6. So I had played through it, loved that game to death. And so from the outside looking in, seeing everybody like, damn, Larian's a really good studio, actually. How was Baldur's Gate 3 this good? I never thought it would be this good. It wasn't like people shocked that it was a contender for Game of the Year. I was watching that going, why? Because as someone who's played and absolutely loved Divinity 2, that was just watching the development and closely following the development of Baldur's Gate 3, you knew that it was going to be a truly special game. And I think all of the conversations surrounding it, both positive and negative, of people trying to call out, you know, there was the comments where people shouldn't expect every game to be like Baldur's Gate 3 or whatever. I think it's a testament to how incredible, and even if you just think it's okay, some people just don't like turn-based combat, that's fine too, but it was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. And
yeah,
and
Divinity,
one of the best RPGs ever made, like Divinity 2 was.
Well, and Divinity didn't do... That's kind of why I was surprised with Baldur's Gate 3. Like, they didn't do this up-close, in-your-face, fully animated conversations over the shoulder like your modern day RPG. That is sort of, I think, a big draw, like, just to be able to see a lot of your character, because a lot of it was in Divinity was just sort of, you make your character kind of, and you kind of, you know, like, you kind of,
yeah, all the conversations,
you know what I mean?
It
It's just
still be, yeah, you never, yeah,
you don't really like feel like you're, you know what I mean? I don't know how to, if you know, you know. And real quick, let me end this poll real quick. The consensus for Alan Wake combat is that it's okay. It's okay. It's good, and it needs improvement. Okay, look at that. People
You're
would
wrong,
like,
chat.
okay. You're wrong.
I do also want to give just a indie shout out as far as Game of the Year goes. I think absolutely Hi-Fi Rush, I thought should have been an incredibly strong contender for Game of the Year.
Does it even does that qualify as an indie game technically, or
Tango's not an indie game. I'm pulling a Dave the Diver.
I was gonna say, I'm like, it's
yeah. I'm pulling a so there's an actual indie game, and I just interjected. I cut over myself. I wanted to give a special mention to Hi-Fi Rush because I think that game absolutely had Game of the Year potential, and if it wasn't, you know, I would put in terms of the games, because I haven't played Alan Wake 2, but in terms of the games I played, I would say probably Baldur's Gate 3 number 1, Hi-Fi Rush number 2. I thought it was fantastic. But I do want to give a special indie shout out to Darkest Dungeon 2 as well. It technically hit its 1.0 release in 2023, but it had been in early access for a very long time. However, Darkest Dungeon 2 I think is such a stellar sequel. If you like indie games and you do like turn-based and you like kind of like hard strategy and roguelikes, it was incredible. And one of the most special things about Darkest Dungeon is you can play the first one or you can play the second one, and they both play very uniquely from one another. So, and the developers acknowledged this. They said that when they set out to make a sequel, that they wanted to have a game where people can argue one is better, two is better, and nobody is right or wrong, because they're both two separate games that will attract different people. And I love that about it as well. There's enough familiarity where you can like and love both of them like I do. But it is such a fun little indie game that I recommend to anybody and everybody.
I love that too. I also, sorry, just to last thing I'll interject is like, I think it speaks volumes about just how amazing Hi-Fi Rush is as a game, that it's like, your number 2, and it's also my number 2 for the year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was so good, but there was something else we played that year that just barely managed to like edge it out.
100%.
Question.
100%.
I have a question about Hi-Fi Rush.
Keep talking. Sorry, real quick. Everyone in chat, shout out to Mateo. I don't know. If people can still hear us, let me know. My PC is completely frozen, so as long as you guys can still hear us, that's fine. I'm trying to work it out. But continue, Assassin.
I just want to know how well received Hi-Fi Rush was this year. How much quality and love and passion went into that game. Do you honestly think that maybe Microsoft and Tango will double down on Hi-Fi Rush as an IP? Do you think we'll get a Hi-Fi Rush 2 later on? Do you think Hi-Fi Rush has earned a spot in the Xbox brand as like a high tier franchise for them?
I don't know if I would say it's like high tier. But
Well,
I mean,
compared to everything else Microsoft has, they literally have nothing besides Halo, Gears, and Forza.
If we're looking at it from the perspective of a Xbox Microsoft exclusive, it's one of the best ones they've put out in recent times, hands down.
Agreed.
Does it deserve a sequel? Is that a rhetorical question? Absolutely. Yes, I would love to see a sequel. I don't know how a sequel would actually function. Like, the story is pretty much wrapped up at the end. I don't know how you could expand on what I already feel is like a damn near perfect combat system that they have in that game. I honestly have no idea how they would be able to expand on it.
I mean, they kind of left it open arcane at the end.
They turn it into a Souls-like.
That's
the answer.
Yeah. No, they pull a Jedi Survivor where it's like more, or a God of War, Ragnarok, right? Where it's more or less the same game. It's just you are in a diff. There's some small tweaks to it. And they made it a little bit more polished.
Yeah, I would
if all
love
it
to see
takes
a
for the
sequel
main villain to
personally,
come back is to literally plug something into the wall, I'm pretty sure they can figure out a sequel. I'm just putting that out there.
I would love to see a sequel. The skeptic in me says I don't want one because I just want it to exist as what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I honestly feel similarly.
Yeah, the skeptic in me goes, that was a phenomenal game. I love it to bits. It's like Matt Reeves touching, like the they released a trailer for it recently with Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, right? But it's not Matt Reeves directing it. And I like the Matt Reeves Planet of the Apes movie is one of my favorite movie trilogies of all time.
Fantastic.
Phenomenal. One of my favorite trilogies of all time. And now they have a new director stepping in, and I go, yeah, I'm like, it's cool because I love that universe and I want to see more, but I have absolutely no faith in it. And I would feel the exact same way about even if it was still made by Tango and John Johannes, I would still just go.
Here's what I think would actually be more ideal, and this is what I think is already happening or has happened in real time, is that Tango Gameworks' profile as a studio has gotten so much larger and they become more recognizable and more of a household name. And I just want them to be super successful in whatever sort of projects they decide to tackle next. That is like my ideal wish, is like, even if we don't get a hi-fi sequel, if we get like another incredible original IP from them, like they were a survival horror team for the longest time. So the fact that this was their first foray outside of that genre, like I can't wait to see what they do next. Like, I am genuinely excited for whatever. I don't care whatever they decide to do next. They've got my money, like 100%. I'm down. It's yeah.
All right, Holly, what's your game of the year?
So
And why is it Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3?
it's not, because the campaign sucks.
Whoa.
I
Whoa. Calm down over here.
the campaign
Shots
sucks. Made me
fired.
mad. I actually
Christopher Judge on this panel. Jeez Louise.
No, Call of Duty is awesome. The campaign story was not good. Anyway, I actually wrote down 4 games that I was kind of like, because honestly, this year I didn't have one like grab me. You know what I mean?
you
Like,
play
this
Hi-Fi
is
Rush?
it. No,
That's fine. Okay, continue.
I don't think so. I do plan on like trying it out, but nothing about it says that it's a game that I'm probably gonna like super enjoy. But having said that, I do plan on trying it. So the one that I always just my brain kind of goes to when I do kind of ask myself what was probably my favorite game of the year is actually the Resident Evil 4 remake. I loved it. It was really, really good. I enjoyed
I
it.
can't wait to dive into that. Like that was one of the games that I'm so sad I missed. But I'm glad that like I have it on PS5. I got it for Christmas. So like I'm really excited to jump into that. And my wife is she's eager to actually sit down and watch me play through it
I
so
love
we
it.
can both
Yeah.
scream in terror.
It's one of the, at least to me, it's one of the lesser terrifying Resident Evil games, right? That's when they kind of like went a little more actiony than straight terror, but there's a lot of obviously like suspense moments. But RE4 was a big one. I played the heck out of Remnant 2. But it was really just better as a co-op game, but it was a good game. Mario Wonder, I really enjoyed. And then the other one that I guarantee nobody's gonna bring up, I really, really enjoyed Atomic Heart. It had a lot of problems too, but it was like the combat was a lot of fun. The world is amazing. The graphics were great. Like it was just everything you wanted it to be. But it was, it was AA, right? Like if a AAA had actually done this game, holy moly, everybody would have been talking about it for, but it was really, really cool. I enjoyed it a lot. Did anybody else play Atomic Heart?
I did for a little bit, and then I actually, whenever I started that game, I thought, oh man, like this is not, like I wonder, I can't wait to see the protagonist that I play as. Can't wait to see who I'm actually going to be playing as, because this is clearly like a prologue thing. And then I was like, please, God, please don't make me play as this guy. And then they did, and then I fell off, because that is not what I expected at all. So I think I need to go back to it, just knowing that you're not going to be playing as like a gruff badass that I thought that you're going to be playing as. But
he's got some like douchey dialogue through it sometimes. But like overall, the story was good. The Soviet, like the alternate universe in Soviet Russia and stuff, it was really cool.
I love that stuff because like Wolfenstein and stuff like that. I do love that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Yep.
Fort Solace,
and the robots were cool.
Fort Solace came out this year, right?
Yes.
Did anyone play?
I don't know what that is.
Did anyone play that?
No.
That was the Troy Baker in the game that I kept getting the guy that I kept getting confused with.
Roger Clark.
The PlayStation exclusive that
Roger
no
Craig
one
Smith.
talks about for some weird reason. Yeah, Roger Clark. Yeah.
Yeah, Roger Craig Smith.
Because it's
literally
Roger
a
Craig
walking
Smith Batman.
I made that mistake every single time.
Right.
Nobody. Okay, I was just wondering if anyone had tried it because I know that it didn't.
I don't have a
come out
PS5, so I can't.
Yeah. Okay. I know it really didn't come out to like much applause or fanfare, but I was just curious.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. So Holly, that's yours. Assassin. What's yours?
Assassin's
you
been asking everyone else.
You're
Assassin's
gonna
been
have to
asking
watch
everyone
his
else, so he has to
video
ask
on
himself.
his. You're gonna have to watch his video on his channel to find out. I watched and it was a pleasant surprise. So
Okay.
what his number one pick was a surprise to me. I was like, oh okay, I was not expecting this. That's
Was
interesting.
it Lies of Penis?
No, maybe watch the video.
If his nose grows, not the other part, but all right.
There you go.
No.
This is your chance, everyone. Go and support Assassin
We'll
because
sit
he's
here.
starting
We'll
to
wait.
make videos now. So go ahead and go watch.
We'll wait.
Go watch his stuff. It's good.
Let's all watch it
Oh,
again.
I'm gonna be waiting for 12 minutes. What?
Yeah. God.
What about you, Red? What's your game of the year pick?
Well, that's about all the time we have left.
Starfield.
It's Starfield.
Yeah, see, I'm the only one that actually
Starfield, yeah.
put my games of the year in a video form, so I can actually leave myself out of this conversation.
Okay.
Is it actually Starfield over? Because you've been doing co-op Baldur's Gate with Damarco, haven't you?
No, we
did,
stopped.
And then
If they
Red
stopped.
abandoned me because he made cooler friends.
No,
That's
Red
not-
abandoned you
nope.
because he wanted to play Payday,
No.
and then he abandoned all of us.
Liza Bean. Everyone is no, I stopped playing Baldur's Gate. I'll be honest. I'll say this in front of everyone. Because the combat was killing me. Because my camera just fucked up. Because we were spending 45 minutes in a battle when it should have been like at least 20 minutes, and I was like, I can't do this. I love you, Damarco. I can't do this.
I feel like that's the kind of thing that would work better in like a single player setting. You know, when you're playing co-op, it's like, yeah, it's like whenever I would play Battle Royale with my friends and I'm dead in the first 5 minutes, I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm spectating for the next 45 minutes.
Well, the
No,
good
we
thing
were
about
playing
Baldur's
we
Gate,
were playing on Tactician. We were
with the
playing on
hardest difficulty in the game.
playing on
Here we go.
Tactician because it actually
Oh,
makes
God.
you think instead of all those
Oh, my
wee difficult. No, I'm just kidding. You can play on whatever difficulty you want.
You can play on whatever difficulty you want.
people-
DeMarco
people-
over there's
Unless
gonna
you're playing
judge
with
you. He's gonna
DeMarco, that
judge you-
is.
judge you for it, but you can still play on whatever difficulty you want.
I want DeMarco to play Dark Souls, and I
I-
want him to actually beat it, and then he can come and tell us that difficulty doesn't matter.
Dude, I've never
Or just
beaten
beat a
any
whole
from
Souls game,
I've never beat any from soft game.
and don't talk to us about difficulty.
Well, that's a little
Well,
different though.
that's-
He's talking about like strategic
don't
type
care.
difficulty. Like he wants to.
Strategic.
I get it. But because FromSoft is
Baldur's-
much more action.
Everybody that plays a From Software game, apparently you're not a tactician for how you beat your bosses.
It's not a turn-based game.
No, listen, like I don't play every game on the hardest difficulty. Okay, I don't play Bethesda games on the hardest difficulty because it just turns them into bullet sponges, and I hate that.
Yeah.
I don't play. I probably would not end up playing Alan Wake based on what you guys have said on the hardest difficulty. But
No,
if
no,
it,
no, no, no,
I
no,
feel
no.
like you
You
have
don't
to
get you don't
now.
get to change your mind now.
If-
You don't get to
I'm
change your
going
mind
to
now.
on my next playthrough.
if
Ooh, really?
That should be fun.
So anyway,
Yeah.
So anyway, I just wanted to shout out to everyone in chat so much for hanging out with us. Really means a lot. And sorry about the issue earlier. My computer, I was like, I'm just about to just give up on YouTube. No, I'm kidding. I don't know what the hell happened. My computer was just completely frozen. So I just had to like sit here and just pray to Gandhi that he would come back to life and lay his magical brown hands on my computer and fix it. And he kind of did. So thank you. So anyway, Damarco, you know, what you gonna be getting into, man? You got something? Where can people find you? You know, what you got? What's going on?
check me's out if you're interested in. I feel like I have painted myself in the worst possible light this episode. I just
Yeah, you've been
I have
rude. You've
just
been
come
yelling at
off-
people.
I have just come off as like the most negative and hating person on this.
told Holly she was stupid.
Have you met me?
If you want to see what I'm really like, you can check out my
He swears.
content.
He swears. Yeah, that's the real
Yeah.
him, not this one.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
that's the only difference. You can check my content out at Damarco Dude or both on YouTube and Twitter.
There you go. That's in the description below, everyone. So go give him a follow. Lux,
And a high five.
thanks, Gandhi. Very cool. Gandhi's cool. Arcane, you were the guest of
Yes.
honor. Tell people what you're going to be getting into, where they can find you, and let me try to actually link your channel in the chat while you're telling
Yeah, I
people.
appreciate that. Yeah, obviously, you type in the search bar my username, the Arcane Realm. You can find me pretty easily. As far as what I have coming up soon, the next video that I am working on currently is just kind of laying out my goals for my channel, my community. It's like my 2024 resolutions video is essentially going to be the next thing that I'm doing. After that, I would like to try and have my Alan Wake 2 video out before the end of January. I can't say any sooner than that because I really do want to take my time with it. I feel like the game deserves that much because it's really incredible. Beyond that, there's going to be some Deathloop, some Redfall content. There's going to be a lot of like Arcane Studios content, obviously. So if anybody's interested in that, you can find me on YouTube. I do also have a presence on Twitter. I'm not calling it X, Elon. Okay, nobody is calling it X.
Yeah,
Literally, not a single person I know calls it X. Everybody still calls it Twitter. All right, so I maintain a presence on Twitter at the Arcane Realm. So if you're interested in some social media stuff, you can also follow me there.
Hell yeah, dude. You can see that him later.
Fantastic. Let me try to copy this link properly this time. Sorry. And let me try this. Boom. Boom. Did that work? There we go. There you go, chat. I did it right this time. Thank you, Gandhi. Holly, where can people find you, and when are you going to start your channel?
It's me, everywhere. I don't know. I need help to focus my brain into something. But
I got you.
besides that, I am on
I
Twitter
heard playing
doing my
Baldur's
thing.
Gate 3 on Tactician difficulty helps with focus.
DeMarco, I would do that with you. And I would probably yell at you, but I would
There you
do
go.
that with you.
Holly, friendship
like
ended with
turn-based
Red.
games.
Holly is my new best friend.
Your new best friend.
I like turn-based games a lot, although I struggled like hell with XCOM 2. That game is
Oh yeah,
hard.
You have 80% hit ratio. Okay.
It's
I
very
can't
hard.
get him. He's too quick.
It's just, I don't know what they were thinking of that difficulty. It's very bad. Anyway, Arcane, thank you for being here. Arcane is my favorite studio, as everyone knows, and there's my Dishonored mask in honor of him being here. And
In
he's,
dishonor of him.
I
being here.
love.
I
in
appreciate
dishonor
that.
of him being
And
here.
and I'll say it again before the show closes out, but I just appreciate you guys having me on. It's been a while, and if I can help it, I'd like to do this a lot more frequently.
Yes, seriously, always let us know, because I know your work schedule might be changing soon, and maybe we can work something out there to get you on more often. That would be awesome, because you're like a little puzzle piece that fits right in with us. Yeah, man.
Slightly
I'm flattered.
And your
Saying
avatar is
the Realm
amazing.
Podcast is acquiring the Arcane Realm.
Yeah, we're now we're the
Right,
Microsoft
like-
of podcasts, so we'll just be gobbling up everyone. So risk it, coming
Still
for your
waiting for
ass.
Mic check.
So
Those buyouts usually
That's
come
not a
with
purchase
lot
I
of-
think is
a
worth
lot
it,
of-
to be honest.
A lot of
oh my god,
monies.
that's true. Fantastic.
We pay in
And
dog biscuits
offense.
here, so
that's fair. Some dog treats. I don't know if I'm alone on this chat. Let me know.
they're
Some dog
expensive,
treats, I'm
yo.
like, I could eat this. This looks good as hell.
Oh.
It smells good. I'm like, bro. I just bought my Finn greenies. The you know what I'm talking about? The greenies, the green.
Every night they have one at bedtime.
Dude.
Yes.
And I'm
Yeah,
like,
they're
it
expensive,
changed
but
his. They are expensive, but I'm telling you,
they're
I'm like,
doggy crack. They are
Yeah.
crack cooking for
Are you
dogs.
saying this from
Yeah.
experiment? From experience?
I'm like, dude, I don't brush my teeth anymore. I'm like, it's amazing. They're so chewy. They clean your teeth. They fix your breath. All that stuff.
I'm sorry I cut you off, Holly. Where can people find you?
Thank
Oh
you.
no, it's just right there on the
It's
tweeters.
it's just right there.
Tweeter.
There you go.
I
Yep.
should just put a hashtag in front of it now. Or an @ right? Yeah, no, I'm there, and also on Friday nights at 6 p.m. Central in the US, I'm on the Infinite podcast with Mr. Umbra, who's in the chat, and Risk It and Pete, and a guest, usually most weeks, here on YouTube on Risk It's channel. So
When are y'all gonna invite
Live.
DeMarco on?
It's not. Whenever Damarco would like to come and I could get Riskit.
Seriously.
As long as Baldur's Gate 3 related, I don't think he'll mind.
Umbra, we got our next guest.
There's
And
a price-
Umbra
you
has
saw-
its own
did you see did you see Assassin, the pressure in that answer? It's like
Well, I don't. It's risky. Yeah.
How do I mute my
will-
face?
I
It's
will,
not like Risket's here.
I will throw your hat in the ring, sir.
There you go. So
That's
there you
how it
go.
goes.
There you go. Next guest on Xbox Infinite Podcast, Damarco dude is gonna make.
We've
his-
rebranded. We're just the Infinite Podcast now.
the Infinite
No, the
Podcast.
Infinite.
Oh, so you named it after Umbra. There you
That's
go.
what he would like to think.
That's what he would like to think. The Infinite Umbra Podcast. He's just.
Oh my
I-
god. Now
love
he
it.
has 2 podcasts. God damn it.
Man,
Jesus.
that's just too much.
Umbra's on
Uh,
like 3. He's got his own on Thursdays, and then I think
Yeah,
he's
the
on
fix.
Boom's. He's on Boom's podcast on
Who's
one
Oh,
Boom?
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Boomstick.
Hey,
Oh.
Assassin, are you doing things? Where can people find you and stuff like that?
You can find me on YouTube and X. Assassin Entertainment. I don't like
Okay.
how I said that.
No.
Let me rephrase that.
Do it again. Do it again.
YouTube and Twitter. Yeah.
Thank you,
YouTube
because
and
I was about to have a conniption from hearing that. So thank you very much.
Oh god. Yeah, as soon as I said it, I looked at everybody's faces. Even though I had my glasses off, everyone looked at me like, "What the hell did you
don't
just say?"
assassin Arcane, if it gives you night terrors, you could just eat me about it, okay?
Okay, will do.
You all can just seek each other and
You-
lay
yeah,
with
we-
each other in
let's
the
just have
arms
one
of
big
each
seat.
other. Just make sure you bring a flashlight.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so YouTube, Twitter, Assassin Entertainment. That's it.
There you go. There you go. I was actually trying to find your channel to link
Red,
you.
where can people find you and your OnlyFans?
You can find me in the fan box where I am rummaging around.
Everyone zoom in on Red's guitar.
You have
on Red's
fumbled
guitar.
so
You can see
hard.
exactly what he's looking at on his monitor.
Twits.
Really? Can you see the
Yeah,
reflection?
Damn it, Red! Are you looking at Pokemon again?
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on with that monitor over there?
You see this?
Yeah.
This right here is Persona 5. It's amazing. Amazing. And it's an amazing poster. I really want to show you guys.
Hey, Red, is Persona a franchise Damarco should invest his time in?
I don't know if you like anime stuff, maybe because like I like anime.
One Piece.
then
There's
I
a hard
think may-
mode.
I like
maybe-
Attack on Titan.
Maybe you should try.
I like. I started Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, but it was okay.
Yeah, this one's like more of like I don't know how to describe Persona. You just had to play it and then be like, yeah or no. It's amazing, very emotional, really rated like R as far as excuse me. Sorry, I don't know if you guys can hear my cat.
My favorite anime is called Hit the Like Button on this episode of the Renegade Realm podcast and
That's a
subscribe to
great
Red Wolf
one.
Renegade.
Oh my god.
That is a long ass name, but we appreciate.
Yeah,
that.
it's a bit of a mouthful, but you know what? There's been worse. So
That's
Yeah, there
usually
is.
like the what does Carrick say? The lucky horseshoe number 4 eating tangos on top of the mountain or whatever. Anime episode 5 or what, I don't know. He's not lying. He ain't lying. Anyway, that was it. This has been the biggest audience that we've had in a long time. So if you're new here and you're in chat, hit the like button, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Share it out to your friends, your dad, your brother, your mother, and your dog that's eating greenie treats right now. And I just want to say thank you all so much. It's been a journey. It's a lot of work, and I love the toxicity. So tell me how to end life in the comment section. Continue to do that. It helps me, apparently, in my algorithm. So I love that. Love it. Anyway, thank you all so much. We'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, everyone.
Oh, the pain.
so long, everybody.